KOB Eyewitness News 4 at noon.
Albuquerque police continue to look for a suspect in a shooting in northeast Albuquerque that left 2 people dead this morning. It happened around 2:30 at the Circle K at University in Manal. APD says 1 person died at the scene, another at the hospital. They say the suspect took off before police arrived. As soon as we hear more, we'll pass that along to you. And new details about a shooting in the parking lot of a northeast Albuquerque Target. They say this man, Robert Clark, is facing multiple charges, including aggravated battery. According to court documents, Clark got into an argument with his ex-wife during a custody exchange at the store on Paseo del Norte near I-25. Police say that Clark fired shots into his ex-wife's car and hit her new husband. All of this while their daughter sat in the car. That child was not hurt. The new husband was, though, and he was taken to the hospital to be treated. We still don't know his condition. Well, if you live or work in the Northeast Heights, traffic is going to get a bit tricky today. For 3 weeks, the westbound lanes of Montgomery at 1 to Bow will be shut down while Water Authority crews replace 2 valves. Now, there's going to be detours in place, but drivers are being asked to avoid that area if they can. Officials say they don't expect this to cause any problems for water service. Well, we had some snow this morning, caused a lot of closures.
Yeah, it was icy roads out there, but it is slow to warm up today, so that ice may still be on the roads in some areas. But for the most part, we're seeing that snow system pass through calmly. Sandia Park, last 24 hours, we had that snow come down, and then freezing fog this morning made much of Sandia Peak pretty hard to see through there. Right now in Albuquerque, 39 degrees, winds remain light, visibility is clear out there. For the next couple of hours in the metro, we will warm up to the 40s again. It will be slow to warm up today and then cool all the way back down this evening, back into the 30s. 24-hour temperature change. We're actually warmer today in some portions of our state compared to yesterday. For example, 10 degrees warmer in Clovis compared to yesterday, Santa Rosa as well. Temperatures right now in our state are in the 30s and in the 40s, a little bit warmer down at the bottom, 50s, 53 in Deming. And for the satellite radar, we did see that snow system continue to work through their way, push up through the state over the last couple of hours, but it has dissipated. And in our forecast, in our future cast for today, we're not seeing too much. Some maybe lingering showers, but really it's that cloud coverage that will affect today. Coming up, more weather ahead, your snow totals, your 3-day outlook, and cloud coverage, how long they will stick around. Emily?
All right, thank you, Megan. Well, another dose of that winter weather, as you said, just too much for one Los Alamos restaurant. The roof of that Sonic drive-in collapsed under all that weight. Thankfully, though, no one was injured, but it did trap 3 cars. The fire department there says it happened around 3 yesterday, and it suggests the roof just wasn't built for all that snow.
In this circumstance, there was some snow left over from the storm that hit us around the 1st. And it's kind of a heavy snow today, and I think the weight compounded with the ice that was already up there has fatigued the roof there.
Well, that snow also made for some dangerous driving conditions and also those closures that we mentioned throughout the day. Well, when winter weather hits, you can be prepared with the KOB4 weather app. It features an interactive radar and all the latest weather alerts for your area. The best part about it, it is free to download and it is available for Apple and Android devices. Happening right now, Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham hosting her first ever cabinet meeting. Our state's new governor says this legislative session will focus heavily on improving education. Right now, the state is considered one of the 10 worst for education in the entire country. Meanwhile, New Mexico's Legislative Finance Committee will unveil its budget today. It's unknown right now how the nonpartisan committee will respond to the governor's call for a 13% spending hike year over year. Some legislators on that committee say that Lujan Grisham's hopes to keep increasing spending may be an irrational dream. However, there is a consensus that public education is a priority during this legislative session. Well, the film industry was a hot topic for the mayor during his first State of the City address this weekend. He touched on the economy and the impact expected from the new Netflix deal. He says it could fetch up to $1 billion in business over the next 10 years. Keller also discussed crime and emphasized that the city has seen its first decrease in crime rates in a decade. He says he wants to keep that trend going.
I will tell you the best technology and the best data and the best police officers are not enough to police a town of our size right now. That's why we are committed to bringing in 400 more officers in the next 4 years, and we are actually on target to have our first 100 at the end of this fiscal year.
Keller also says he hopes to continue working with other elected officials to make our city even better. Meanwhile, the federal government appears no closer to solving its budget problems. Right now, it's day 24 of the partial government shutdown, and there appears to be no end in sight. Both sides continue to blame one another for not being able to come to a compromise on the president's demand for a border wall.
The president has made numerous offers about this shutdown, reasonable too, moving further to the Democratic side.
Reopen government. Why punish people who are applying for food stamps because the president is having a temper tantrum?
Republicans are starting to show cracks in their defense. Some have begun suggesting that the president reopen the government for several weeks so talks on the wall can resume. If no progress is made, they say they'd be okay with the president calling a national emergency. And there are several new concerns across the country about airport security as the government shutdown continues. Now, check out this. Officials at Houston's George Bush Intercontinental Airport say they've been forced to shut down a security checkpoint in one terminal because of a shortage of TSA agents. Officials in Miami took similar precautions over the weekend, closing a smaller terminal while the shutdown continues.
Ma'am, once again, ma'am.
I said both of you.
No, you said sir. Once again, it's ma'am.
Well, this video from right here in New Mexico is going viral. A transgender woman visibly upset when she says an employee at an Albuquerque video game store called her sir instead of ma'am. That video, viewed more than 1 million times on YouTube, has got a lot of people talking. Now, only on 4, she is telling her side of the story to our own Kai Porter.
Excuse me, it's ma'am. It is ma'am.
It's the video seen by millions. Tiffany Moore, a transgender woman who recently started her transition, yelling at an employee inside this Albuquerque GameStop. Moore says the cashier repeatedly called her sir instead of the gender pronoun she identifies with while she was trying to return a game she bought for her son.
Ma'am, once again, ma'am.
I said both of you.
No, you said sir. Once again, it's ma'am.
I actually said both of you guys. It was a general.
Right beforehand, you said sir.
Sir? Okay.
Take it outside. If you want to call me sir again, I will show you a sir.
I apologize. I apologize now.
I was so angry at that point because literally 5 or 6 times he had called me sir and got me so fuming angry, and I was cussing that.
The internet responding to the viral clip with memes like Supermam, Aquamam, and Macho Mam, Tranny Savage. Tranny is a slang term for transgender that many find offensive and derogatory.
What's really sad is it's bringing so many bigots out of the woodwork.
But Moore, a local MC and rapper, isn't letting the memes get to her. She's using her newfound viral fame to raise awareness about the transgender community, and she even wrote a song to get her message out there.
We're humans just like you. We're people just like you. We have kids, we have parents, we have brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, cousins. We're just trying to live.
As for how Moore handled the situation inside the store with that expletive-filled outburst,
and yeah, I could have reacted a whole lot better. But you know what? I look back at it. If I could, I wouldn't change a single thing. I would do it 100,000 times again. I would kick over that display 100,000 times again because my actions were justified. I mean, it was blatant and malicious hate. It was blatant and malicious misgendering.
And we reached out to GameStop's corporate office for a statement. We'll let you know when we hear back. Kai Porter, KOB, Eyewitness News 4.
And we are trying to get answers this afternoon after an Albuquerque man is in hot water for simply trying to protect his house. Now, this man lives in the Spain Garden apartment complex in northeast Albuquerque. He says he bought 2 security cameras after copper was stolen from his work truck on 3 separate occasions. Shortly after those cameras went up, he got a letter saying he was violating the patio cleanliness clause in his lease, and he was told he'd have to pay about $50 extra a month to keep them up.
I got a camera and they're telling me to take it down without any really explanation. I looked at my lease, couldn't find any reasons why I shouldn't have a camera, anything at all.
KOB4 has put in calls to the apartment manager to see if the $50 charge is standard. We'll let you know what we find out. Well, the second annual Nosh Fest kicked off over the weekend. Hundreds of hungry people got their fill of Jewish food at Sandia Resort and Casino yesterday. Last year's event was so successful, they had to move to a bigger venue this year. The event is a big deal for the Jewish community.
It's really important for the JCC to support the Albuquerque community and express our culture and diversity, because this is a city of diverse cultures and we are a part of that.
Organizers say they are looking forward to next year with even more vendors and hopefully more members of the community. Well, coming up, the Secretary of State meets with the Saudi Crown Prince. More on the meeting with a controversial leader. Well, teachers in the nation's second largest school district are on strike. Thousands of educators in Los Angeles are demanding a larger budget from the school district to help increase staffing. They also want smaller class sizes, but officials say they're millions of dollars away from an agreement. The district says all of its schools will be open and students are required to be on campus, but teachers disagree.
No matter what the district is trying to say, there will not be learning going on in those classes. You cannot have teaching moments without teachers.
400 substitutes have been hired and 2,000 administrators with teaching credentials will be reassigned to classrooms. The district says LA school, police, and also bus drivers will be reporting for duty as usual. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is in Saudi Arabia today meeting with the country's powerful crown prince. But it's a meeting that's overshadowed by the CIA's conclusion that the Saudi leader knew about the plot to kill a Washington Post journalist. NBC's Andrea Mitchell has more.
Stand by.
All right, and we should have that story for you a little bit later, we hope. Well, check this out. Kansas City Chiefs lineman Jeff Allen was on his way to the divisional playoff game on Saturday when his car got stuck on the highway. A homeless man actually saw the car stuck in the snow and decided to help him out. Little did he know who was helping him. After the game, Allen tracked down that man using social media because he wanted to reward him for his kindness.
I seen the message this morning, man, and I ain't gonna fake with y'all, man. Call me soft if you want to, homeboys, but I started bawling. For real, I did. And just to know that he is a man of his word and he actually reached out to contact me.
And now a guy who's never been to a Chiefs game in his entire life will be in the stands at the AFC Championship game on Sunday night. Pretty cool. Well, history was made at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts yesterday. Sarah Thomas became the first woman to officiate an NFL playoff game as the New England Patriots hosted the Los Angeles Chargers. Well, she's no stranger, though, to breaking through the glass ceiling. Thomas also holds the distinction of becoming the first full-time female NFL referee back in 2015, and she was the first to officiate a college bowl game. Pretty cool. Yeah. Are you into sports?
Yeah, well, my Seahawks are out, unfortunately.
I know. It broke my heart.
I guess I'm cheering for the Rams now, but what can we do? Okay, full forecast. Right now, we are tracking that storm that pushed its way out. Angel Fire time lapse. Over the last 24 hours, that freezing fog has lifted. It's a beautiful view out there, and the clouds are dissipating. It's going to be a nice day. Snow totals right now from last night. We are seeing a couple places got some inches. Los Alamos got 5.5 inches. Sandia Park got 4 inches. Rio Rancho 3. Even southeast Albuquerque got an inch of snow. And at the almanac for today, Albuquerque at the Sunport will reach a high of 44, a low of 33. And temperatures for today, they're forecasted in the 30s and 40s, 36 in Durango, Farmington 40, Grants 40 as well, and Roswell at 46 and Carlsbad 48 today. More temperatures coming up. Wind speeds remain relatively calm throughout the day. We're seeing under 10 mile per hour wind speeds for much of the day. This is the future cast, and they still stay pretty calm across our state. So a nice little break from all of those heavy wind gusts that we have seen. The future cast, we are seeing those high saturated clouds today. And then on Tuesday, we're starting to see a mix of rain and snow moving into the western portion of our state. And even Wednesday, we'll see some light snow in the higher elevations in places like Taos and Santa Fe. But much of the metro keeps clear. However, there is some slight chances of precipitation. Your temperatures for today: southeast AM fog will clear. Ruidoso topping out at 46, Alamogordo topping out at 50, Carlsbad and Hobbs at 48. Roswell will see clear skies and sunny conditions out there. There's a slight chance of precipitation for Friday, 10%. Temperatures will be in the 60s as they warm up. Today is a little bit cooler, and then overnight low are in the 30s. Southwest portion dry and warming out there. Silver City topping out at 50. Truth or Consequences 52, and Reserve 46. Las Cruces topping out at 54. The Four Corners area, AM fog. There is that slight chance of showers, but it looks like it's drizzle out there. Window Rock topping out at 48, Gallup 42. Overnight lows in the Four Corner area will be in the 20s. Chama reaching 34 today. Farmington 7-day forecast, there is that precipitation Tuesday through Friday. A mix of snow and rain will be out there, and overnight lows will be in the 20s and 30s before a clearing for Saturday and Sunday. Northeast portion, freezing fog and AM snow today. 42 in Las Vegas, 48 in Santa Rosa, 50 in Tucumcari, and 48 in Clayton. Santa Fe will see that leftover snow. 38 in Los Alamos, Santa Fe, 40. Check out that overnight low in Los Alamos, 6. Espanola will reach 42 today. 7-day forecast for Santa Fe. That precipitation lasts through the weekend. That chance of rain and snow becomes more evident on Friday with a 40% chance there. 20s and 30s for the overnight lows, and mainly staying in the 40s for the highs this week. East Mountains, rain and mountain snow as well. Tijeras topping out at 40, Edgewood 42, and the Metro, Los Lunas, Belen and Bosque Farms, will be 47 today. Overnight lows in the Metro will stay in the 20s, and they'll just reach the 40s over there. And the 7-day forecast for Albuquerque, we are seeing that chance of rain throughout the week here. The clouds are really going to be evident this week as they will take over, but hopefully that sun will peek out. Friday, we're seeing a 30% chance of rain. Overnight lows are going to be in the 30s, and then clearing for Saturday and Sunday.
All right, thank you, Megan. And let's go ahead and try this again. Back to a story we told you about earlier. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo back in Saudi Arabia today, meeting with the country's powerful crown prince, a meeting that's overshadowed by the CIA's conclusion that the Saudi leader knew about a plot to kill a Washington Post journalist. NBC's Andrea Mitchell has that story.
We think we learned along the way.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and the Saudi Crown Prince meeting today. The young leader close to the president's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and the president, who has not accepted the CIA's conclusion that the Crown Prince knew about the murder plot of journalist Jamal Khashoggi.
Maybe he did, maybe he didn't.
Saudi critics say Mr. Trump's support has strengthened Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's hand at home. Pompeo told us he raised the issue with the Crown Prince today.
Every single person who has responsibility for the murder of Jamal Khashoggi needs to be held accountable.
Since the Khashoggi killing, there has been a backlash here, a noticeable tightening on freedom of expression and human rights. Saudi Arabia was already being accused by human rights groups of torturing women protesters and their male supporters who've been jailed since May. Only this weekend, 18-year-old Saudi Rahaf Mohammed Al-Qanoun was granted asylum in Canada.
A very brave new Canadian.
Rahaf had escaped from what she claimed was an abusive family, barricading herself in a Bangkok hotel room, pleading for help on Twitter.
I want asylum.
After not discussing human rights on much of his Mideast tour, today Pompeo said he did discuss the women activists in Saudi prisons still awaiting due process. For today, Andrea Mitchell, NBC News, Riyadh.
Well, coming up, are you planning a big trip in 2019? You're not alone. Why more people are heading to some bucket list destinations. Well, 2019 is going to be a busy year for travelers, but many Americans aren't heading just anywhere. Many are going to be traveling to destinations on their bucket list this year. NBC's Chris Clackham has more.
The travel industry is anticipating a banner year of people packing their bags and heading off to those bucket list destinations this year.
Consumer confidence and traveler confidence is very high right now.
Bolstered by low gas prices, the economy is strong and getting stronger. So travel advisors are advising you better start planning now.
Looking 4 to 6 months in advance is really, advantageous as a traveler, especially when you're going to these big bucket list destinations.
European hotspots like London, Paris, Rome, and domestic destinations like San Francisco and Alaska will play host to huge crowds of first-time visitors this year.
It takes all of the logistics out of it for you, not having to think about currencies and languages and multiple hotels and transportation.
And from a Disney cruise in the Bahamas, says a cruise may be the easiest way to get there. Even if you're wanting a national park stay this summer, she says lodge and campsite reservations are already filling up fast. Chris Clackham, NBC News.
Well, bacon lovers, take note. McDonald's is rolling out a new bacon-themed menu. Starting January 30th, you can get bacon on 3 items, including the Big Mac, the Quarter Pounder, and also the cheesy bacon fries, which are making a comeback. McDonald's researchers found that the word bacon popped up on social media 17,000 times a day in the U.S. between January 1st and January 7th. That's a whopping 740 times an hour. And breaking news here, we have some news on CNN. Their main campus is on emergency lockdown, so please remain indoors and wait for further instructions. Again, CNN main campus on emergency lockdown. Stay tuned for more updates on that. And we're going to have one final look at your pinpoint forecast when we return. Stay with us. Well, check this out. Have you ever been so mad that all you want to do is just smash stuff? Well, take a look at this anger room. It's in China and it's already a huge hit. Customers suit up in protective gear, then take baseball bats and other items and just take a crack at objects of their choice. There's TVs, telephones, clocks, rice cookers, speakers, and the most popular item, glass bottles. I saw this in a TV episode once, and I think they went through a breakup and they were just throwing dishes.
Oh my gosh, I guess I go for the glass bottles.
I think so.
Okay, check on weather out there. Here's a 7-day forecast for Albuquerque before we go. We're seeing precipitation and cloud coverage this week ahead of a warm, sunny weekend.
Looks good out there. All right, thank you for joining us today. We hope to see you tomorrow. Have an amazing day.